The sun shone high over Paris on that lazy early afternoon. It was a rare day off for the French national team players during their preparation for an important friendly match. N'Golo Kanté and Kylian Mbappé had decided to make the most of their free time by having lunch together, away from cameras, training sessions, and interviews. It wasn't unusual for the two to meet up in moments like these. Despite their quite different personalities, they shared a solid friendship built on respect, genuine laughter, and a passion for both football and the simplicity of life. "How about that bistro you like near Rue de Martyrs?" Mbappé suggested, adjusting his sunglasses. Kanté smiled, ever discreet. "Sure, but you're paying this time." "Me? You're the one getting bonuses for winning the ball back in midfield, my brother." They laughed. The walk to the restaurant wasn't long, and they decided to go on foot, enjoying the mild weather and the city's bustle. Paris was alive, as always, cafes packed, tourists snapping photos, children running through the squares. It was on one of those quieter streets between an artisan bakery and an old bookstore that Mbappé suddenly stopped, his gaze fixed on something ahead. "Did you see that?" Kanté, ever alert, looked in the direction he pointed. There, leaning against a lamppost, was a child, maybe 6 or 7 years old, wearing a baggy shirt, dirty pants, and worn-out sneakers. Her eyes were red, as if she'd been crying, and she looked around with a mix of fear and confusion. She clutched a small teddy bear that seemed as tired as she was. "She looks lost," Kanté said, already stepping forward. As they approached, the girl instinctively stepped back. She was scared. Mbappé crouched down a bit to seem less threatening, taking off his sunglasses. "Hey, it's okay. We just want to help. Are you alone?" The girl hesitated, glancing at them. She seemed to vaguely recognize their faces, perhaps from matches or commercials, but confusion and fear dominated. I lost my mom," she said softly, her voice trembling. "What's your name?" Kanté asked, his tone calm and gentle. "It's Sophia." Before they could continue, a man appeared from the other side of the sidewalk. Tall, wearing jeans and a dark shirt, he looked sweaty and out of breath. When he saw the girl, he ran toward her, arms open. "There you are. Sophia, you scared me so much." But something in the man's tone didn't feel right. Mbappé exchanged a quick glance with Kanté. He spoke too fast, seemed too nervous, and Sophia, instead of running to him, froze. She didn't react. She didn't take a step. "Is she your daughter?" Kanté asked, keeping his voice neutral. The man nodded quickly. Yes. She got lost at the market. I've been looking for her for hours." "Come on, Sophia, let's go home." Sophia clutched her teddy bear tighter and stepped back. "Can you show us some ID proving you're her father?" Mbappé pressed. The man frowned, now irritated. "Look, I don't have to prove anything to you. This is between me and my daughter. We understand, but she seems scared. We just want to make sure everything's okay," Kanté replied, taking half a step forward, subtly placing himself between the man and the child. "Who do you think you are?" "Concerned citizens," Mbappé said. "And with all due respect, she doesn't look comfortable with you at all." The man tried to stay calm, but the tension was obvious. He reached for the girl's hand, and she recoiled again. At that moment, an older woman passing on the other side of the street began watching the scene. Another bystander stopped, noticing the two players and the small crowd forming. "We can call the police to help sort this out," Kanté suggested. The man hesitated. His expression shifted. He knew he was being watched. "No need for that. She's my daughter. I'll take care of her." But when he saw Mbappé actually pull out his phone, the man stepped back. "You know what? Fine. Keep her. I was just trying to help." He turned abruptly and started walking away quickly, almost running. Kanté followed him for a few meters, but the man vanished into the side streets. Returning to Sophia, they found her trembling. Mbappé knelt down again. "Are you okay? Want some water? Anything?" She nodded slightly, still frightened. Kanté handed her a small water bottle from his backpack. She took a sip and looked at them with wide eyes. as if trying to figure out if she could really trust them. He's not my dad," she whispered. "I don't know where he took me. I just want to see my mom." The two players exchanged a look. Something very wrong was happening here. This wasn't just a lost child, and they knew they couldn't simply leave her there. "It's okay, Sophia. We'll help you. We promise," Mbappé said firmly. "Do you remember where you're from, where you lived, your mom's name?" Kanté asked, pulling out his phone again. Sophia nodded slowly and began speaking in whispers. That lunch would have to wait. Now they had a much more important mission ahead. N'Golo Kanté and Kylian Mbappé traded lunch for the local police station. With Sophia sitting between them in the back of a discreet police car, the two players calmly explained to the officers everything they'd witnessed. The child, still scared, held Kanté's hand tightly, as if finding in him a quiet shelter against the world. The officer who took their statement, a stern-faced woman named Inspector Louise Merlet, quickly sensed something odd in the story. She asked the girl a few questions, always with patience and care. With each answer, a more disturbing picture emerged. "Do you remember where they took you, Sophia?" the inspector asked. The girl nodded. "It was a big house, but it wasn't my mom's. I woke up there one day and she wasn't there. There were other kids. Sometimes they'd take some away, and they never came back." The inspector stood and left the room for a few minutes, returning with an agent specializing in crimes against minors. As the police began handling protocol, trying to match the child's description with missing persons reports, Kanté and Mbappé stepped aside. "This is bigger than we thought," Mbappé said, still looking worried. "Human trafficking? Here, in the middle of Paris?" Kanté nodded, his expression tighter than usual. "We can't let this slide. That girl's alive by a thread." As the police investigation unfolded, the two players were dismissed. But before leaving, they made a request to Inspector Merlet. "If you find anything at all, please let us know. We want to help. We have ways to spread the word, apply pressure, make noise," Mbappé said. She studied them closely. It wasn't every day that two of the world's biggest football stars got so genuinely involved in a case like this. "I'll be in touch, but I need total discretion from you both. If the media catches wind too soon, they could make everything disappear." They agreed. Over the next few days, Kanté and Mbappé kept in touch with the inspector while training with the national team as usual. Behind the scenes, the police had matched Sophia's name to a missing persons report filed 7 months earlier in Marseille. Her mother, Anaïs, had filed reports, sought help, posted photos on social media. Nothing. The police located her quickly, and the news was delivered carefully. Sophia was alive. Anaïs broke down in tears over the phone. She begged to see her as soon as possible, but something still bothered Kanté and Mbappé, the man from the street. The police had started reviewing security footage from the area. Mbappé, recalling some details of the suspect's appearance, helped create a sketch. The footage soon showed the man fleeing after their encounter, and more chillingly, in a recording from days earlier, he was seen talking to another man outside a white van in an alley near the same street where Sophia had been found. Inspector Merlet summoned them again. "I don't know if you're ready for this, but what we've uncovered might be linked to a child trafficking ring we've been investigating for months. We don't have solid proof yet, but the activity is suspicious." "So, that van," Kanté began. "It's shown up in other reports in different neighborhoods, always near disappearance cases. And the man? Do you know who he is yet?" "We're close. The camera's got a good shot of his face, and we've cross-referenced it with old records. He was arrested 5 years ago for involvement in child exploitation, but got off due to lack of evidence. We know he's in Paris, and we want to catch not just him, but the whole network behind him." Mbappé crossed his arms. "How can we help?" The inspector hesitated for a moment. "I don't want to put you at risk, but considering he saw you that day, he might be trying to flee. If you're willing to cooperate, you could help us lure him out again. He might try to reach you, maybe even find out where the girl is." Kanté shook his head thoughtfully, You mean use our visibility to draw his attention? In a controlled way. You'd make a public appearance at a charity event, something low-key, with limited attendance and targeted communication. He might show up there, trying to finish what he started. Mbappé nodded. If it helps catch that bastard, we're in. The plan was set in motion 3 days later. A charity event at a sports center in the suburbs where both would appear to promote grassroots football. Kids, coaches, journalists, all discreetly monitored by plainclothes police, strategic cameras, and civilian security. Kanté and Mbappé arrived together, smiling, signing autographs, chatting with the young athletes. But both kept their eyes sharp, scanning the faces for anything unusual. It was Kanté who spotted him first, a man at the back of the gym, disguised in a cap and gray jacket, watching the event with exaggerated focus while trying to blend in. He didn't look like someone there for football. Kanté quietly approached Inspector Merlet. Back there. Black cap, gray jacket. He's watching us. No kid with him. She confirmed. Within minutes, 2 agents surrounded him discreetly. When the man tried to leave, he was intercepted. A search revealed a phone with encrypted messages, an address, and, most damning, photos of Sophia. His arrest was immediate. Taken to the station, the man cracked after hours of interrogation, giving up the location of a warehouse on the outskirts of Paris. The police moved fast, raiding the site with anti-trafficking support. There, they found 5 more children, all in situations like Sophia's, some with missing persons reports from other parts of France. The network was dismantled. Across the city, Kanté and Mbappé sat in the police station again, this time in silence, exhausted, but relieved. The inspector stepped in with a faint smile. He'll face charges for kidnapping, child trafficking, and criminal association. With the evidence from the warehouse, we've got a solid case. And Sophia, she's going back to her mom tomorrow morning. The two exchanged a look. It was hard to hold back the emotion. Worth it? Merlet asked. Kanté smiled, as discreet as ever. Every second. The morning after the suspect's arrest and the warehouse raid, the Paris police headquarters felt lighter, but no less busy. In the back of a reserved room, Sophia sat in a small armchair, a colorful blanket over her shoulders and her teddy bear clutched to her chest. Her eyes, once weary and confused, now seemed a little calmer. There were still traces of fear, marks that time would take to erase. But for the first time in a long while, there was also hope. N'Golo Kanté and Kylian Mbappé arrived early, even after a nearly sleepless night. Inspector Merlet greeted them with a subtle nod and a tired smile. She'll be here in minutes. She's coming from Marseille? Mbappé asked. Yes. Took the first train this morning, didn't want to wait a second longer. Kanté scanned the room. He'd brought a children's book under his arm. He sat beside Sophia, who soon handed him her teddy bear to look after for a moment. You okay? He asked softly. She nodded. My mom's coming today? She is. She's on her way. You'll be together again soon. Sophia squinted, as if she didn't want to believe it until she saw it with her own eyes. Understandable. For months, she'd lived in a world of lies and fear. Trust, a fragile seed, was just beginning to sprout. Half an hour later, the station door creaked open, cutting through the morning silence. A woman rushed in, guided by an officer. Her hair was hastily tied back, her eyes brimming with tears. Anaïs. When she saw her daughter, she let out a muffled cry, a mix of pain and relief that seemed to come from her whole soul. Sophia! The girl stood, hesitating for a split second, until recognition overcame the trauma. She ran into her mother's arms, who held her with almost desperate strength. My love, my little one, I found you. The room fell silent. Mbappé looked away, swallowing hard. Kanté lowered his eyes, quietly fidgeting with the edge of the book. Annie sobbed and kissed her daughter non-stop. Sophia finally cried too, but this time, not from fear. It was the cry of reunion, of home. Inspector Merlet waited a few minutes before approaching. Mrs. Anais, we have a few more formalities to handle, of course, but your daughter is safe, and the culprit is in custody. The woman looked at her, eyes red, then turned to the two players. You saved my daughter. I don't even know what to say. Mbappé stepped forward, gentle. You don't need to say anything. She's with you. That's everything. But you could have walked by. You could have ignored it and... Kanté, with his calm demeanor, finished. But we didn't. In the days that followed, the story leaked. It was inevitable. An investigative newspaper broke the story first. Kanté and Mbappé helped dismantle child trafficking ring. Social media erupted. Headlines popped up on websites worldwide. Soon, it was all the French press could talk about. Interviews were requested, but the two declined them all. It's not about us, Mbappé told his manager. It's about the kids. Let the police handle their part. Our job was just to notice what no one else wanted to see. The police, however, publicly confirmed the athletes' involvement, praising their responsible, brave, and decisive actions. Inspector Merlet was invited to a press conference where she said firmly, if it weren't for the sensitivity and quick thinking of these two citizens, who happened to be great footballers too, we might never have found Sophia or reached the warehouse where other children were being held. They used their visibility for something far beyond sports. For that, we're grateful. Sophia's reunion with her family was closely monitored by the child protection team. The reintegration process would be long and careful. Psychologists, social workers, legal support. Anais was determined to do whatever it took to ensure her daughter never went through anything like that again. And Sophia, little by little, rediscovered her smile, still shy, but there. A few weeks later, Kanté and Mbappé were invited to visit Marseille discreetly. No press, no fans, just a small gathering among friends. Anais greeted them with a tearful hug. Sophia waited in the backyard, playing with neighborhood kids. She's sleeping well again, back at school, talks about you two all the time. Does she? Kanté smiled. Yeah, says she'll be a footballer too, or a cop, or both. Mbappé crouched near her. If you play, I want you on my team. She laughed. And if I'm a cop, I'll catch bad guys like you did. Kanté looked at the girl's mother. She's strong. Stronger than I'll ever be, Anais replied. Late that afternoon, as they headed back to Paris, the two players walked part of the way, just like the day it all began. They stopped in front of a small corner restaurant. Now, can we have lunch? Mbappé joked. Kanté gave a soft laugh. You're still paying. Fine. After all we've been through, you deserve dessert too. They stepped into the restaurant casually, like two friends on an ordinary day. But they knew that behind that simple moment was a story that had changed more than one life. It had changed them too. On the restaurant wall, a small TV played the day's news. The reporter wrapped up a story on human trafficking, highlighting new police operations and legislative changes under debate in Parliament. Looks like the story sparked some change, Mbappé remarked. It's the least that could happen, Kanté said. But if even one child is safe because of this, it was worth it. They raised their glasses for a toast. To Sophia, and to all the ones still to be saved. And they clinked glasses. Because sometimes the greatest goal in life happens off the pitch.